Welcome back to Teh Tarik Hour. This is round 2 of our topic on
Again.
shelter, housing.
Again.
And this time it's more about affordability, the affordable housing in Singapore and Malaysia.
It's a government subsidized housing.
Now, as always, it's your two so high boys here, Azreen and Ah
Kit.
Kit. We are back again. Again and again. But if you haven't watched the previous episode or the previous part, do watch it. We go more into its private housing rather on that section because we were going to talk about housing in general, but we realized that the first part we focus purely more on private house, like condominiums, mansions, private property lah,
private
basically
properties.
private housing, and how Malaysia is slightly better in the choices there lah, right? But either way, both the people can afford either way, right? Normal people can afford. Now, for this one, we're talking about affordable houses in Malaysia and Singapore, and there is a huge difference here because, as we all know, Singapore is it's super well known for its HDB or Housing Development Board.
For my opinions or for my ideas, I think Singapore is do quite well. I mean, it's among of Southeast Asia, even in some of the Asia country, they are doing the housing develops. HDBs is very well the government housing.
HDB or HBD?
HDB Housing
Development Board. Yeah, there
Yes.
you go. I always confuse the board
HDB,
development
yes.
or something development board.
So this 80 to 90% of people are Singaporeans who are staying in a HDB now.
I think you're burying the lead a bit there lah. You're underselling the power of HDB in Asia. It is one of Singapore's most successful initiative in
Yes.
terms of in providing shelter for its people.
Yeah, you see.
And 90% of Singaporeans are living in HDB. That is a lot of people that have a roof over their head.
Yep.
Compared to the rest of the country like Indonesia or Cambodia or even Malaysia itself, we don't have that level of integration in terms of like subsidized housing, right?
Because are using Singapore to compare to Indonesia and Thailand, those places. Why? Because they have a land. You always using in Singapore to compare with Hong Kong. You see Hong Kong and Singapore is very similar. Islands. I can say it's islands. You can see in Hong Kong, it's damn fucking expensive. You live in Hong Kong, you stay in one condo or whatever places lah, called flats or whatever lah. But in Singapore, if let's say you are 35 years old Singaporeans, you got the ICs, you got work, you are not easily lah, you got the opportunity. I can say it's opportunity to get a HDB in Singapore.
And these are quite reasonable shelter lah. Like,
Yes, we call it shelters.
It's not exactly like you're not staying in a coffin room like in Hong Kong where literally you can live in a coffin size room. That's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not even like one person stay there. It could be a family stay in this kind of thing.
I think it's Singapore is where it's very limited resources. It's very small islands.
And it is, to its credit, they did a smart thing to
Smart. It's very smart.
to early on implement this subsidized housing project.
Yeah, can give all the Singaporean peoples and the people as a whole, even the PR people can
permanent
have the
residents,
opportunity to buy houses in Singapore.
And to that extent, like they don't have to worry about shelter lah. Now, in comparison, Malaysia, we don't have a centralized HDB kind of thing, right? It's a bit more separated, I would say, right? Because we do have affordable housing, but it's like different level one. I think the most common one is PPR. Is Program Perumahan Rakyat or the affordable housing program, which basically are flats. And PPRs are often given a bad reputation because they often tend to be very not well maintained. A lot of the time, it's people who live there are not so nice people.
Okay, if let's say we compare like this, the first thing we want to compare is the infrastructures and the communities in Malaysia and Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the rumah whip or whatever, the communities,
Okay, but then now
the
you already
infrastructure.
Rumah Whip actually is different than PPR. Rumah Whip is more like a government initiative, initiated housing that's using private developers to create affordable, somewhat affordable lah.
It's a
housing.
half, the half private and the other half is the government.
It's a slightly step up from PPR lah. But even then, like getting that is not easy. You need to apply for it and everything. But yes, infrastructure, you need to look at how the community is made there, right?
Infrastructures. I come back to Singapore. You can see the leaf. I know some is the leaf in Singapore. It's got the smell, the pea lah, whatever lah. But it still do very good. You see the facilities, even the downstairs, the gardens. They can have some playgrounds and the pedestrians for people who are do a jogging or whatever. They're doing very well. But in Malaysia, you come to Rumah Web or whatever, you can see these facilities. All the facilities actually belong to private. It not belong to people who are needs it. Right? You can see the Rumah Web. Not even they have the playground. Okay, I come back to Wangsa Maju. The Wangsa Maju is a 90s. You call it a government's flats lah. They even have this called playground at the in the middles in the flats. Okay. They do very well in the 90s. But today you can see the government housings. I don't know whether you can see your opportunity. Or maybe you can search for the internet. You can see really not many facility for them. The infrastructure is not there. Even the community is not there also.
Basically, it's not well maintained lah in the long run. But that's the problem with Malaysia in terms of like how they approach affordable housing. It is state by state. So Wangsa Maju, maybe in the beginning, the people who were looking after the housing, they did a good job to keep on top of all the maintenance costs. But somewhere along the line, maybe the state people there just did not take care the housing as good. They don't provide money to repair. They don't provide any funding to fix or anything like that, because it is on its own the state problem, not the country problem, right?
Yes.
Whereas in Singapore, in HDB, if one HDB is having an issue, you will go to one person to complain, right?
Council lah.
The HDB lah, basically that's the only place. If it's like, but in Malaysia, if it's Wangsa Maju, you need to go to the Wangsa Maju state. You cannot go to the top government, right? The
second thing is come to government support. The government support are really support those poor people and the people who are not afford the housing. You come to Malaysia, they are Malaysians lah. The poor people who do the ball actually throw to the bank. The poor people, they can loan. Maybe the interest is lower lah. This thing like they try to play the game. They put the financial issue to the bank. They throw the ball to the bank. Then they solve the issues already. It's no government subsidized or no whatever. You can see, maybe you are in which category, your loan can approve, your salary, this one, your requirements, I lower your requirements. But in the end, you are the one who are pay the installment. You still want to pay the installment for the house, right? How poor you still want to pay the installment, right?
Oh, chill, bro. You already, I can see your urat, your come out.
You see,
you so stressed already.
No, you really did this one really help the Malaysian for the housing.
I mean, that's the current issue in terms of like Malaysia when it comes to affordable housing, right? The programs there is so messed up. Yeah. We don't have a good system right now. It seems so. Of course, now there's movement with the residency wilayah, the Rumah Whip, the Prima. But even then, there were issues, and the term affordable there doesn't make sense, because 300 to 400,000 is not, say, affordable or low cost housing, man. That is still considered quite expensive for a lot of people.
But government never think the personal financial issues. It's like Singapore. Okay, Singapore, come to the Singapore. Why the people 35 years old, maybe the regulation is changed, maybe 35 or more than 35, single, they only can buy the HDB. They are younger, they cannot buy the HDB. They want to see the financial stable after 35.
Yes, there is a grace period basically.
Or the people who are married, they need a house.
Yes, so the shelter goes to the people who needs it, right?
Yeah, you are married, you have a family. then the HDB.
It's well thought out, the system there, right?
Yes, the system is there. Not say today like Malaysia, I throw the ball to the financial
see your luck lah.
the bank. Okay, the bank lower the interest 2% or 1%. Okay, give to the government. Okay, 2%, 1%. Okay, maybe it's zero interest. Okay, the zero interest is quite attractive, right? Zero interest, but in the end, who pay the money? Right, the people pay the money.
Can I ask you, because I'm a bit iffy on terms of like HDB and Singapore housing there lah. Like, when you buy a HDB, how much does it usually cost? Are you familiar with it?
I'm not familiar because one thing I'm not Singaporeans.
Because since you have more experience with
maybe they're selling in a lower than market price, and then they can draw the CPF to come to the purchase the housing.
Basically, equivalent of EPF lah.
Equivalent will be EPF lah.
Social security.
But they still can use the EPF to purchase that. But I think Malaysia also can lah.
No, I don't think they don't. No, I don't think you are allowed to use your EPF to buy housing. You can use it to pay the monthly, but you cannot use it to buy a house though.
They can draw. Let's say our account 1 or account 2 is possible to draw the money to buy a housing in Malaysia.
Yes, there is a way, but it's not easy. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think it's that easy because it's the house. The account 2 is more towards like you paying for your house, not paying as a, let's say, for down payment to buy the house. You can't use it for that. Like, let's say the Rumah Whip, the Prima, 300,000. But the 10% is 30,000. That 30,000 cannot come from your account too, You need to get that money yourself first,
But my conclusion is that actually the conclusion is the government is not really support the poor people who are purchase the house.
But in terms of Singapore, that they don't need to worry about that down payment, the thing and all that, is it? Like, it's much more easier to the process, you feel?
The first thing they will see from your, they are very detailed lah.
Of course,
they're married,
the check,
they have the requirements.
The check lah.
But for Malaysian, you are able, because how much you're earning, 3,000 salary, you can afford to lend the money from bank. The requirement is there. They're not see you are already married. Are you buying this house is for a married purpose? 35 years old and above, you are more easy. If let's say you are married, you are with family, you are with children. These all the factors make you to more easy to get a house because you are the married. You are the one who needs the house. Compared with those single people.
Is that not a good thing? So you have a good vetting process. You vet the people and make sure that the housing goes to the people who need it.
Yes, this is the maybe this is the more soft requirements lah. It's more personalities lah. You are married. How come you are married? You are more easy to get the house.
You
do shelter.
You need it, right?
You need it because I'm not. If let's say for families, both of you are working and then you got families. Of course, you need the housing. It's not good for rent. Then make you more difficult, the financials.
Whereas here in Malaysia, it's like you could be married and all that, but if you don't meet the threshold of, like, let's say you don't make enough money or something like that, then you cannot get the loan from the bank or something like that, and then you won't have that security of that shelter lah. So it's a bit like, a bit of a gamble. But in that sense, right, Singapore with that initiative, some people might say that's a bit too regulative, isn't it? That you need to go through all that, you need to have all this requirement in order to be able to afford a HDB or affordable housing there. You don't think that's a bit too controlling, is it?
If let's say for housings, if for normal people who are work in Singapore, they are not very concerned. Even the Singaporeans are not very concerned. I want to get a house immediately after 35 years old or how old I am to get a house.
I'm not sure.
I'm not worried because their government is already do the well plan for the people. Then the people say, never mind lah. I'm married. Then I get a house lah.
There's no
stress for you to get a house.
That's the thing. I feel like that's the difference there, right? In Singapore, maybe I'm not sure. Well, maybe I'm speaking out of my ass lah. To me lah, I feel like Singaporeans don't really have the stress of buying a property.
Yes.
Or worry to buy a property because like they know at some point the government will help them in providing shelter. Whereas in Malaysia, you need to start early. Oh, you are 20s, you need to get your money, buy a house first because that's the cheapest there. Because when you wait, when you are 30s to buy, it's already too expensive for you to buy, and then you just have to rent for the rest of your life. Then you die lah.
The other thing is a leasehold, because all the HDB is a leasehold owned by governments, ma.
Yeah, but like, do you need to live until you need to stay until 99 years, man?
But Malaysia have freehold, until your cucu or your offspring also can stay.
I mean, okay, leasehold versus freehold is also an issue that permeates lah. But like, just to think lah. After 99 years, man, do you still want to? Are you still living there? If you live until 99 years, I respect you, man. That is already because after a certain period of time, your children will find their own place, right? It's not that they're gonna continue to stay at that same place forever, isn't it?
And I don't think it's 100 years you stay in one house.
Exactly. Like, who needs to stay 100 years? Like, there's no such thing. That you don't need to live that long. But I guess for some people, having pure ownership is something that they want. But is that sacrifice worth it? Is it a worthy sacrifice to say that, oh, as long as I can completely own my house at the cost of someone not being able to buy a house? That's a bit of okay. We're talking too deep into it lah. Let's get back to the fact of the affordable housing. I think I want to know your opinion on this. What is the Singaporeans' opinion of HDB at this point? Is it still a positive image? Do people still think of it as a good initiative?
I think I don't know. Maybe you can ask the audience and say, who are from Singapore.
I mean, if any Singaporean watching, we would love to hear your opinions on what you think the HDB initiative looks like to you now. Is it still considered a good initiative? Do Singaporeans now prefer like private housing more, like private developers more, so that you can own your house like 100%? Or do you think like the HDB initiative is a good thing to have forever?
But if let's say,
in your opinion, like
my opinions, if let's say I'm the Singaporean, I really don't worry about the housing, the flats or some things, because the government really plan very well. You can see the outcome. Okay, I always compare to Hong Kong. You see, Hong Kong is the same island also. You can see Hong Kong. The private, it's actually Hong Kong is more like Malaysia's. The private properties, the private
completely free. This one is a free market.
Yeah, you see the housing, how damn expensive. Even people who need the shelter, they only stay in the coffin. Just a one.
Yeah, really like a coffin lah. You just stay there. And of course, like, you don't want to reach to that level, man, because that is insane life to live. Like, you imagine the most that you can afford is just a small little coffin there to stay. Like, how do you survive, man?
But you can see the rich people is in Hong Kong. You can see wow, fucking damn nice house, They're rich.
But actually, occupancy is in Hong Kong, right? Is all the housing being filled by people, like the expensive houses?
But they're not much. Is like the HDBs is like not much government housings, ma. Yeah, more is like private. But last time actually did very well. The government housing is last time is in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Even Malaysia or Singapore, they are learned from Hong Kong to have this government housing. That time is 19th Wang Samaju appear. Or you see section 1, section 2, no section 3, section 4. You can see all the housing is a quite big piece of land in KL. They built the government housing. Actually, that time I feel also very proud because
we're on the way there.
You're on the way there, but in the end, it's not success.
I wonder who changed the whole mentality of like putting private developers more, huh?
But that time, I think it's a 50,000 ringgit. You can afford the
oh my god, 50,000.
50,000. You can afford the flat.
50,000 now is the down payment.
The Wang Samaju areas, the Wang Samaju. Because I lived there before. Not too bad, not really bad. You can see the people who are downstairs and still got the playground, and then wow, can mix with some other like Malay or Indian.
That is crazy to think, man, that you can buy a housing for 50,000, man.
Yeah.
A shelter for 50,000.
The time
Now
is
you are lucky if you can pay 50,000 for down payment.
50,000.
For a decent place.
50,000 nowadays. I don't think can afford the housing.
No, you cannot. Well, you can buy maybe a small plot of land there or something.
Even studio units nowadays, 300,000 at least, right? 2 to 300.
KL like that. I mean, not even KL. Even area like Shah Alam, all this, like possibly those are like
300,000.
The cheapest you can find there already.
I mean, studio units.
But then okay, so no point for us to talk about Singapore. It's already considered they're the best there.
The best there.
Now, in terms of Malaysia itself, like, what do you think should be the approach here? Like, what do you think needs to change in Malaysia in order to be able to, let's say, somewhat catch up to Singapore's HDB initiative?
I think still come to governments. Government is play the very major role in the properties. If let's say today they want to do something like this, I don't know whether it's strong enough for our governments. Because you see our governments now. Every government, we are 5 years, maybe it's this government, and then they change again. Maybe the direction is different.
The thing is, right, a initiative like public housing and affordable housing should be bipartisan. And what I mean by bipartisan means that it's a topic that all parties should be united. Shouldn't change mentality like, oh, if I'm from PN, when I take over, then the affordable housing will be focused on my state, but the state that opposed me cannot have affordable housing. That should not be the case, right?
I think Malaysia here, we should
There's too much of party politic kind of thing, is it?
We should have a well-planned city plans. Even now, you can see Malaysia here is very messy. Even now, in front of your house, you can suddenly we can have a condominiums. Or here, suddenly you can have a housing area.
Developers need to make money, man.
Or the city plan where the government easily approve the project. Then to make the place so messy, even so you can see the factory area, industry area, suddenly it will come the condominium.
And also the fact that when you do have a affordable housing, the people that you go to make a complaint, let's say like, we need to repaint the infrastructure. The person who handle it sometimes might not be able to handle it because you cannot complain straight to the top. You need to go to your state or what your district or what. There's no centralized approach. That is personally my view. There needs to be a centralized government or a centralized body that takes care of affordable housing the same way that Singapore does with HDB. HDB is one centralized unit that takes a look at everything affordable housing. That's how they manage to be able to control everything. Whereas in Malaysia, it's very separated. Like Selangor's affordable housing is controlled by Selangor. Pahang or Kelantan's house take care by their own state. There's no centralized place that people can go to and say, I live in Kelantan. My state and their infrastructure is dying now. Who can I go?
You know why they are not putting in the centralized? And because every single state government they can own their own pocket money.
Come to this.
Really what? Really what? If let's say I all goes to the federal, we call it federal governments all go to the federal governments. Our state government, it's shit
But that should not be the view, man. The idea of affordable housing is for the people. It's not for your state, man. It's for the people, the entire people.
No, some people is like, I think Malaysia here got one
too much team sport already.
one sick I can say the sickness
Sickness
you can see even the Johor Johorians.
Hey, careful He's a current. You don't.
They're proud with Johor, right? Yeah, we're proud with Johor.
Johor proud, okay.
Johor proud.
Johor pride,
But in KL, I mean, in Selangor here, the people different. They're different. Yeah, this kind of mentality. We are one Malaysia, but
that should be the case, right? The fact that affordable housing shouldn't be state separated. It should be the entire nation.
Yes.
And right now we're just talking about Semenanjung, you know. We haven't even looked at East Malaysia and how badly they need to have also a connected approach towards affordable housing there as well. But they have their own thing. We have our own thing in West Malaysia. How can we solve it when everyone is like, we do our own thing lah. We don't care about you. What's
Maybe I have one crazy ideas lah. I got one crazy ideas. The government maybe can force all the private condominium who cannot sell the housing.
Hey, wait, let me find our communism music.
They cannot sell maybe they cannot sell the condominium maybe within a 5 years period or 3 years period. Or you cannot sell the one vacant.
Bro, it's like, this is not your property. This is our property, comrade.
But you are wasting the resources. You are wasting the land.
You think like
this is everyone you live in the earth. We have the
this is what people will make fun of in terms of like socialist or communist propaganda there. Oh, you see, when you are communism, your thing they will suddenly take away one.
No, because you too many. Yeah lah.
Right. But I do agree that there needs to be some form of regulation to limit that, to bring it back. And also, yes, lack for a better word, maybe forceful reclamation of those empty properties needs to be done in order to ensure that everyone gets shelter. Lor.
But you see, so a lot of those resources are wasting. But in the end, that people who are poor, they cannot afford the housing. Okay, now doesn't matter lah. Government, if let's say got enough the resources to help out this group of people, the poor people can rent a house or can do this something. It can have a solutions. Maybe government is subsidized. You stay in the condo. Government subsidized, or government say I let all the people to stay in the condo. I'm not paying single cent.
I mean, they could. A more softer approach, I would say, is maybe like they limit regulation. That was like, okay, if you buy a property for rent, we control the rent. It cannot be more expensive than this amount. Mm-hmm. Like regardless, like everything is rent control. That way, people won't be tempted to say like, oh, I want to buy a property so I can get profit there. If you limit the profit motive there, then they wouldn't buy up all this property lah. Like people who buy it for investment, and also for developers to say like, oh, okay, if we want to sell the property, we need to sell it for people who really want to live here, not just to buy and to invest lah. But of course, that is a humanity-driven. I don't think people will look at it like that. People will look at it profit. Developer will say, as long as you buy, I don't care lah. Whatever, right? Yeah. And the investor who buy it,
the developer. Okay, why the developer want to become a developer? Because they want to make money only,
Yeah, that's the thing.
The developer, they want to make the free housing for the people. You think they have this kind of high kind of dream?
High morality. And this change in system, it needs to be nationwide lah. Because let's say Selangor decided, now we take back all the private property and make it into public property. You imagine you as a developer, you say, that means I don't want to invest in Selangor anymore. I will go to Terengganu to make all my high level 5-star condo there, so that people can buy it there instead of going to Selangor. Because if I build in Selangor, I won't get profit one.
I don't know. I think this job we leave it to our government and do the decisions. This is the
I think for me, like the first step is always going to be like we need to centralize the idea of affordable housing the same way that Singapore does it with HDB lah. Of course, I understand right now HDB has issues right now. I think like prices in the HDB also are going higher because people are buying it for investment as well.
I think they come to very the foundations, the infrastructures and the community is very important. Even HDB or whatever private properties. I find out in the infrastructures. I pay the money. Maybe I pay the maintenance is 60 cents per square feet, and I pay 20 cents per square feet. Is very different. That one is really I pay the money for the communities, but government have do something on the infrastructure and the communities. They have do something. I don't think even you can see You can see a little bit now they're changing lah. But it's not.
No, it's only during election time, bro. Only during election time only. Later, after that, after 4 years, are empty.
You can see even you can see in some places like the housing area, you can see the library. The people no library and no, or is a shopping mall around your area.
Of course,
one LDP 5 shopping mall, 6 shopping mall. You think the people all are like to going to the shopping mall?
Malaysia culture is shopping mall. That is Malaysia culture.
God.
But okay lah. Like for me, like let's try to end this up on a more positive, hopeful lah.
Yeah.
What do you think would be the best case scenario moving forward for Malaysia if we manage to become, we manage to implement a public housing system? Like, do you think we will ever achieve like a 90% people stay in affordable housing or public housing?
These questions are...
Like, looking at the current trajectory, do you think there will come to a point where people will say like, okay, enough is enough. We need to build public housing more than private housing now. Do you think that will happen?
I don't think we'll be
yeah, okay, I guess we're not going to end on the public good note.
This is very crucial and very reality world. These Malaysia's government, they are very like desires, is very hungry for the money. Do you think that they are will doing something? I do some free lunch for the people. Not say free lunch lah, maybe it's a cheaper lunch lah. I think this cost maybe is a 5 ringgit. I want to make it maximize my earnings to 10 ringgit. I won't selling is 7 ringgit if for market. I'm selling 7 ringgit a lugi. The government is not getting.
Very, very funny you say like that, right? Because I always, this might be a very outdated view of me, because like I always assume that Singaporean are much more money matters compared to Malaysia in that sense, right? Like maybe a Singaporean would say, the price is $5 but I will sell at $10 because I want to earn that profit. Whereas I would assume Malaysia is like, it's 5 ringgit, it's okay lah, I put 6 ringgit, we are good generous lah.
Okay,
but actually I feel like everywhere also is like 10 ringgit, 10 as much profit as possible.
Singapore is very weird places lah. I can say it's very weird. Come to infrastructures and come to communities, the HDB housing and then something like this. They are more to like, they're in the in-between actually. Their demography, they are not to go to too far. They're in between.
Just right in the middle there.
In the middle, they're going to play this thing.
Okay.
But in Malaysia, we are boleh land, we call it.
Anything can do.
Anything we can do. So, very different.
Well, on that note, I think it's okay. We will end this talk on affordable housing on there. Honestly, I don't think we managed to reach a good conclusion there.
I cannot afford the housing. See, you put a comment, see whether the government will subsidize them. You send the...
Bro, you try to see the residency, the Wilayah residency. It's impossible to get, man. And even then, you need to pay like down payment also for that, which is like the housing is like 300,000-400,000, man. How can you afford?
Seriously, Malaysia, the populations is not that much lah. You compared to Indonesia, compared to Thailand, we have still a lot of resources to let the people to stay in the shelter. You know,
the people in power don't want to let that. They still want to earn something there, which is, well, that is capitalism.
No, capitalism. The capitalism fault. No, we play in between lah. Actually, in between.
We should find the balance there lah. But anyways, we thank you guys for listening for this episode. Let us know what you think. Is it good for us, for Malaysia, to adopt the affordable housing program that is centralized, or is Singapore's HDB too controlling of the private market or the free market there? Let us know what you think. And if you're Singapore, let us know what you think of your HDB program. Is it good? Do you still think it's a good initiative? Would you prefer buying a property in Malaysia instead, or retiring in Malaysia, this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think. As always, if you like this content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring that notification when we have new episodes. And again, let us know what you think about this format when we separate a long topic into 2 videos, putting it like that. Or if you guys prefer the 1 long hour video, let us know what you guys think, and we will see you guys on the next one. Until then, goodbye.